In this video I'm going to be tying the California Shad Fly in variation number 1. There are, let's see, it's like 11 variations in Pfeiffer's shad fishing. This fly is part of the Pfeiffer collection. In the vise I have a Mustad 3366A size 6. And I'll be tying this with black Danville's flat wax nylon. I'm going to start about a hook eye behind the eye and take my thread down to the barb. And snip away the thread. And bring my thread back up to the tie-in point. For the tail we're going to be using some orange hackle fibers. I like something webby. This is a orange saddle. I'm going to pull about a section about this wide. I'm going to tie in the tail at our tie-in point. I want the tail to be about the length of the body. I'll tie in and then bring my thread back to the butt of the fly. And if you lift slightly on the hackle fibers, it'll keep them on top of the fly rather than allowing them to roll. Looks pretty good. Just trim away our excess. For the body we're going to be using some silver tinsel. I've got a single strand here that I'm just going to fold in half around the thread. And then I'll go ahead and capture it and advance my thread forward to the tie-in point. And I'm actually just going to touch these thread wraps with the little Sally Hansen's, and that'll help protect our tinsel wraps. And then go ahead and wrap the body with the tinsel. And there's enough here to do that twice, so I'm just going to bring my tinsel back down to the butt of the fly. And then just bring it back up. And then capture our tinsel with our thread. Snip away the excess, and then I like to touch those wraps one more time with some Sally Hansen's, just to protect it all. We'll let that dry. Alright, next we're going to tie in our hackle. This is going to be a wet fly type hackle, so we're going to tie it in at the throat. I'm just going to pull off, again, a section of saddles, something about like that, just to get your tips lined up. Grab them by the tips and peel off of the stem. And I like my throats to be about long enough to just about touch the tip, or maybe even slightly longer the tip of the hook. I'll kind of measure that and then capture with my thread, a couple loose wraps, get everything aligned where it should be, and then take another locking wrap, and then I like to just lift those fibers up and make a wrap behind them. Just to get the throat to stand up a little. I'm going to do that one more time. That looks pretty nice. I'm just going to trim away my excess. For the wing, I'm going to be using some light tan kiptail. Pretty decent clump of that. And you want to pull out any of the fluff. And then I like to grab up towards the tips and then pull out any of the shorter hairs. You end up with a more consistent length wing like that. Now you want your wing to be about as long as the tail is. So that looks about right, but we'll tie in and then take one more look. Looks pretty good. And then same thing, I like to just lift the wing and make a couple good wraps behind, just to help get that wing to stand some. And the key here is not to tie over your throat, so you don't want to lay the throat down. It's pretty good. Advance our thread forward, and I'm just going to lift up the tag and make a couple wraps in front of it, and then snip away the excess. We'll just build up a head. Couple little stragglers there. Just go ahead and build up our head. And then whip finish. And I'm just going to touch the thread wraps with some Sally Hansen's to protect them. and that is the California Shad Fly #1.